Ms. Tsongas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all of our witnesses for appearing before this joint subcommittee today. Thank you and welcome. As a longtime member of this committee and the now ranking member of the Subcommittee on Federal Lands, I have come to appreciate the complex and dynamic mission of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The service has a great responsibility to conserve, protect, and enhance fish, wildlife, plants, and their habitats for the continuing benefit of the American people. The agency manages more than 150 million acres and provides Americans with access to hunting, fishing, and a host of other recreational activities. It is responsible for administering some of our nation's bedrock environmental laws, such as the Endangered Species Act, the Lacey Act, and the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. These are the laws that seek to prevent species from becoming extinct, stop illegal wildlife trafficking, and protect migratory birds. And yet, since 2001, the Fish and Wildlife Service budget has been cut by 12.6% in real dollars. The budget before us today requests a total of $1.57 billion in discretionary funding, a modest increase of $135.7 million over 2015, in total making up only 0.04% of the federal budget. Yet the agency is tasked with the daunting challenge of meeting its responsibilities in the face of ongoing urbanization, suburban sprawl, and climate change. The President's budget also proposes additional funding that would be primarily directed to the states for fish and wildlife restoration and conservation. Critics of the Endangered Species Act contend it is a failure, stating that only 1% of the species under its protection have been recovered and been delisted. The reality is that 90% of species are recovering at the rate specified by their federal recovery plan. But these plans cannot be fully realized without adequate funding. Director Ash, I look forward to your testimony on the Endangered Species Act. I also want to learn more about proposed investments in wildlife refuges. The National Wildlife Refuge System is a uniquely American concept. Unlike the recreational focus of the national parks or the multiple-use principles that guide management of Forest Service and BLM lands, the refuge system is America's insurance policy against the catastrophic loss of historic natural ecosystems. Especially in this time of drastic climate transitions, we must help the service strategically grow the refuge system to meet the changing demands on America's fish and wildlife and their habitat. Finally, I look forward to hearing from you, Director Ash, about funding for the administration's initiatives to combat illegal wildlife poaching and trafficking at home and overseas. The illegal wildlife trade is valued at $10 to $23 billion per year. And the same organized criminal syndicates that traffic in guns, drugs, and humans have taken over this black market as well, deriving funding from the poaching and illegal sale of elephant ivory. Last year, before a Senate Subcommittee on Foreign Relations, the State Department testified that the department is becoming, quote, increasingly concerned with links to terrorists and rogue military personnel, unquote. The challenge of helping African countries protect their elephants and rhinos while also seeking to curb demand for these products starts at home. The administration's destruction of our stockpile of ivory in 2013 was a step in the right direction. Congress must make sure that the service receives adequate funding to do its job and keep illegal wildlife out of the United States. And Administrator Sullivan and Deputy Administrator Rauch, I appreciate all the work that you do at NOAA to promote the sound science that covers the entire range of our planet, from satellites orbiting our atmosphere to exploration at the bottom of the ocean. I'm looking forward to your testimony as well. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you. I'm now pleased to recognize the Chairman